it helped bring guys like Jalen Phillips along, right?
Sure, yeah. The thing here it's a developmental program here, next man up, and our guys do a great job of getting themselves ready in the film room, in the weight room, and preparing themselves. So, it was great for JP. It was great to get Coble in there and get some work. He's a guy that he got in there this spring and did a really good job too.
When you're looking at people like Makuba and Trenton Simpson, Derek Carter, and some others, is the versatility of this entire defense maybe rare compared to
and then you throw R.J. Mickens in the mix too, and Tyler Venables in the mix. Those guys can do a lot of different things. Malcolm Green, you got guys that can play a lot of different positions, and it gives them a chance to get in there and play, and it gives us a chance as coaches to use them versus different personnel groups that'll help us be successful. And all those guys we're talking about can really, really run, and change direction. So, and it's a credit to them for getting in the film room and learning it, and learning the different spots.
Coach, but you got somebody like Nolan Turner that leaves the NFL. How does this position group as a whole kind of replace that kind of experience that he brought to the table?
He gave us such great leadership, and those guys have just been sitting under him humbly and patiently waiting for their opportunity. Those guys are ready to go. You take a guy like Jalen Phillips that has really benefited from Nolan's leadership. And just seeing how Nolan came up too. He was a two-star guy that everybody thought was just a charity to be here, and he turned out to be an all-conference, all-American type player. But those guys have really learned from him, and I've seen them take on some leadership roles, that he left behind. Just kind of paving the way.
Andrew told us in the spring, he's like, yeah, you may see me at safety, you may see me at nickel, you might see me at dime, you might see me all over the field.
I see him in the corner too.
He's in the corner.
Cuba can do a lot of things. When you got a physical guy like that can run, he's a matchup problem for offenses because he can match up with your best guy and cover him. And a lot of guys, that's what they want to do. They want to get a matchup with a linebacker or a safety, and Cuba's a guy that can cover. He covers like a corner. He hits like a linebacker.
Is he more comfortable closer to the line of scrimmage?
I think he's comfortable anywhere on the field. He's a really good player. Maybe even turn some kicks and punts. Who knows?
When a guy like that is the ACC Defensive Rookie of the Year, what's kind of, as a coach, what do you tell him? How do you take him further than where he already is right now?
He wants to get better. And that's a credit to the kind of the culture that Coach Sweeney set up here. We get those kind of kids. He sees himself. He's proud of those accolades, but he wants more. He wants to do more. He wants to do better. So it's not really hard, getting him in the weight room and in the film room. So he's hungry to be better.
Coach, what has it been like for your relationship with Wes Goodwin, his new role as defensive coordinator? How have y'all grown as a pair? How did that carry into the new season?
It's been great. We've been, since he came back from the NFL, we've been great friends and been in there working together. So nothing's really changed other than, our voice is a little bit louder now. So as far as us working together, it's been great. Wes is a humble guy, and we collaborate really well together. There's really no egos involved in it.
What's the biggest thing you learned from last season, just you personally as a coach?
Biggest thing I learned? Well, probably on the, I was doing special teams last year. Probably the biggest thing I learned is man, you got to really develop depth. We lost that whole. It was like we had a different punt team every single week in protection. You lose Brian, you lose. It's like a different guy in that shield every week, and learned how to develop people on the punt team. That's for sure.
Mickey, what returns have you gotten just on Kylan so far? Kylan Griffin.
Yeah. So he just got here 2 weeks ago. So just hungry, and he's in the film room and just learning. He's got a lot to learn. So a long way to go, but a good athlete, tested well. So excited about him. You know how it is for young guys. It's a lot to learn. He's going to be fine though because he wants it.
How excited is Landon? He's
fought all these issues to finally get back out there and have that shoulder finally help him.
Landon's he's super excited. I mean, he's worked for it. Unfortunately, in the very first game of the year last year, he comes up and I mean, he lays a great lick on the guy, and boom, there goes his shoulder. But I think he's really excited. He had a great spring. Minus the contact stuff, we didn't do any contact with him, but I mean, he was in all the coverage things that we did. So super excited. Can't wait to watch him fly around. Good.
Did he have surgery? Everything that you hear.
He did. So 2 years ago, he tore his labrum, and he fought through the whole year with a torn labrum. I don't even know how many people knew that played with it. And then went ahead and had surgery at the end of the season. He comes back, misses the spring, does all that, get to the Georgia game, and first series he's in, hits a guy, and hit him hard, tore his labrum, and we just decided instead of trying to, endure this for the whole season, let's go ahead and have the surgery now, and let's go all the way through August with it, and then bring you back. So that's, but yeah, he had surgery, 2 weeks after the injury.
Was it the same side?
Yeah.
That's not your position, but how rare of a talent is Nate Wiggins just from what you
Nate Wiggins is super talented. Yeah, he's really, really good. People don't enjoy watching him play. Really good. I don't know how rare it is, but he's a really good player.
Can you just maybe elaborate on what?
Well, he's got length, which you love in a corner, so he can cover all the tall guys. All these receivers now are 6'4", 6'3". So you definitely got him as a matchup problem for offenses, and he can run. It's rare to find a guy with his length that can change direction and cover man-to-man like he can. He covers like an NFL corner, like an A.J. Terrell. You start putting him in that category.
I think in the past you've had a bunch of hybrid guys back there, guys like Isaiah Simmons you could throw back there and move him around. You've had guys you could move in the corner and bring them back out the cover, like Kayvon Wallace and guys like that. Who's the guy this year that's going to maybe move between the two groups of Green?
Well, yeah, Malcolm Green's a guy that'll play. He'll play the nickel in the corner. And then you got Andrew Makuba who can play the safety, the nickel in the corner. Then you got R.J. Mickens who can play both safeties and the nickel. Then you got Landon Sanders who can play both safeties and the nickel. So and then Tyler Venables now he'll play the boundary safety and the nickel. So you got a lot of guys that'll be fighting this summer, for those jobs and those opportunities. And whoever can cover the best, whoever can grasp the defense the best. And, some guys can cover better man, some guys can play better zone. And it's our job as coaches to develop them to improve on their weaknesses, obviously, but we got a lot of smart guys, a lot of really good athletes that can do a lot of multiple things. We got Barrett Carter who can play the nickel and play inside. You got Trenton Simpson who can play inside and outside and defensive end, rush off the edge. You got guys like Xavier Thomas, KJ Henry, and Miles Murphy who can come off the edge, but they can drop into pass coverage. We got a lot of multiple guys. I think more so than when Kayvon was having to do a lot of different things. I feel like we got more guys that can do that. And that was my whole thought process coming in. As a position coach, I don't want guys just to be able to play one spot. I want them to be able to move around, so we can get our best players on the field.
What about Jalen?
Jalen Phillips he can play the boundary safety, he can play the strong and the nickel. When he first came in, he was training with Kayvon, he was working with Kayvon at the strong and the nickel. So he learned all that, and then last year just kind of moved him back there to free safety and just put him into that boundary because he's such a physical safety over there.
Is he the Elder Statesman now?
Well, he and Landon both came in together at the same time. He's really taken on the leadership role for sure.
The 2018 defense speaks for itself, but I get the feeling you guys might think this defense is faster. Is this the fastest group overall you've had since you've been here?
I think so. Just looking around, it's a really fast defense, especially those linebackers. Man, those linebackers can really run, and we got guys lot of spots they can run. And that's what you want. And up front, we can really run. Xavier Thomas, those guys coming off the edge, really, really fast. Brian Brzee coming back inside, Big Roo, Miles Murphy. I mean, there's going to be a lot of speed. We just need to get out of the way and let them run.
It seems like there were times last year you had to go to Danny Poole and go, who have I got today?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, you're exactly right. There were a lot of injuries last year, and especially up front, a lot of guys out. But that's going to benefit us this year because a lot of those guys got to play last year. I mean, Big Rook, he did an excellent job coming in last year. Now he's going to be a big time player for us.
You have all this, you mentioned versatility, speed, all these kind of adjectives to describe your defense. How does it make your life potentially easier for like crafting a game plan for a certain team when you have all this sort of talent, different ways you can play defense?
Well, we need to make sure that we don't, move too many pieces. Number one, we got to make sure that we hone in on what they're best at. But it's exciting as co-defensive coordinator. It's exciting, and it's. And I feel like I'm not handcuffed. If everybody can stay healthy, knock on wood, we can play a lot of guys, which is what we want to do. That's Coach Sweeney's whole philosophy is development and playing guys. And, so that's our goal on defense. Get a lot of guys in there. That's why we train them to play different spots so we can get them in.
Is this the most physical bunch of safeties you had so far since you've been here?
Well, they got a chance to be. Tanner Muse was pretty physical. Pretty physical safety. Kayvon's pretty physical, but these guys they like to hit. So JP's a big time hitter. Just keep continue, and he's really worked on his coverage, man skills, which is I've seen really improve. Makuba will hit. But yeah, we got a lot of physical guys, and that's what we want them to be. I mean, that's one of our plans to win is to be more physical than our opponent, and you got to do it with physical safeties.
Vicky, you mentioned Tyler Venables. Yeah. Where is he like his rehab?
So he's back. So he'll be good to go when we start in August. So I'm excited about that. He's a physical safety too.
For us to have him come back to Clemson?
I think it's huge. You got a guy that has a lot of experience. He's played a lot of games, and I think it's huge to get him back. He can do a lot on special teams as well. So, and most of your special teams are made up of your safeties and linebackers. So the more of those guys we can get involved with that, special teams is going to be good too. But he has a great knowledge of the defense and a lot of playing experience. So that's going to help. It's going to help us.
A little surprised when you decided to stay instead of following Pops to.
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised. I thought that he might go with his dad, but I'm proud that he stayed, and I'm thankful that Coach V trusts me, with his son. I feel responsible, to help develop him not only on the field as a player, but off the field as a young man too, because his dad's entrusted me with that. So I'm very, very grateful to Coach V for this opportunity to work with Tyler.
What about his teammates? What did they think about it? What does it say about him to come back?
Well, he's got a lot of friends on the team, and I think that was a big part of him staying. To be here with his friends and that whole recruiting class, and, staying with those guys. I think his roommates, DJ and Brian Brzee and RJ Nickens, a really tight group. So those guys are excited to have him back. I know Wes and I, Coach Sweeney, we're excited to have him back.
Talking to Coach Paul about Wes, I said, is there, one story that you can tell about his recall? Is there one for you, like he was saying, hey, he can go back to 2013 and remember certain things? Is there, one time that you can go?
For me, the most, it's just he's got a photographic memory and just what he can see within the play and be able to write it down. The guy, he wasn't even in the press box, he was on the field and writing down what the players on offense and what the players on defense did, and then give it to Coach V. And and show the defense. I mean, it's like us filming with a camera. And you can vividly see it and just have a photographic memory. And to me, it's probably the most impressive thing I've seen from him.
So when you're in the box, what information are you relaying to him pre-snap?
Well, first off, I'm giving him personnel, so he'll know if it's 11, 10, 12, 21, 22, 23 personnel. Then it's the formation. All right, here's the formation, and then if I recognize the formation being a pass or a run formation, I'll give him an idea on that. Then watching the play, just watching, did our defense do what they were supposed to do? Did the linebackers get their drops right? Did we bust the coverage? Hey, Wes, we need to get this guy out. Let's get this other guy in. He ain't getting it, whatever. But those are the things that I'm relaying. Hey, it's 3rd down and 10. Hey, it's 3rd and 5. Hey, remember on 3rd and 1, we like to do this. Hey, it's early down. You hadn't called this in a while. So just giving him an idea. Hey, I'm keeping up with the different calls that we're calling on the field. We hadn't called something in a while. Hey, man, on 1st down, you hadn't called this. This is in our playbook. We need to get this in. Hey, you've called this the last 3 times on 2nd down. 10. We need to try something different. They're going to be ready for it. Just that, just kind of refreshing his memory on what's going on. Just keep him clued in on it.
How smooth did that work in the ball game?
I thought it was great. I thought it went really well. I didn't feel like there were really any hiccups. In fact, it felt even better than it did during the season.
Does that help get the plays in faster too? The fact that he can recall and you're helping him.
Oh, no question. No question. I didn't get the big, and I'm helping him with that too. Hey, look, it's hurt. You can tell when it's no huddle, hurry up. Hey, they're going fast right here. Get the call. Let's go. Or hey, they're gonna hard count you right here. Just hold the call. Those are things that we're relaying to him. And there's a whole team of us. It's not just me. I mean, there's a whole group of us on defense that are helping him with that.
What are your responsibilities as a co-defensive coordinator? How exactly will your relationship work with Coach Goodwin?
Well, our defense, we work really well together anyways, just as a group. I don't think a lot's going to change. We work really well together. We bounce ideas off of each other all the time. Obviously, he's going to be calling. He's got the final play call. But like I was saying earlier, I'm going to be helping him with personnel groupings, formations, ideas. Things that we have on the play sheet we hadn't called. I'm going to remind him of those things. Things that he's called too many times, I'm going to tell him, hey, look, it's too many. And he's humble enough to understand that, grasp it, and listen. And that's what Coach Sweeney, when he brought us in to tell us how we were going to do it, that's how he wanted it done. He wants us to do it together, but at the end of the day, you got to have one final voice, and that'll be Wes on the play call.
Can you give me an idea as to the differences between Coach Venables and Coach Goodwin?
Night and day, probably. Yeah, I mean, Coach V is full of energy and just very intense, all the time. Wes is a little more cerebral, but not that he's not as intense, maybe outwardly, inwardly, he's still as intense, but he's always, Wes is always thinking of the next move, what we're going to do. I think he simplify things a little bit more as far as putting things in categories. When you do things as long as Coach V does, you just kind of stack things on top of things. And in his mind, it works. I think in his mind, it's a little bit more organized.
What are you looking for from the defense as we start fall camp? What's maybe a point of emphasis or two that you're looking for?
From the defense, I'd love to see the retention from the spring. I'd love to see that we've retained what we worked through all spring, and the guys have worked really hard in the weight room. So I'd love to see how in shape they are when we get started. Because the less we got to do as far as conditioning, the better we can work on what we got to do football-wise. So conditioning and retention are probably the two biggest things.
Mickey, how pleased were you with Sherrod's progress during the spring, and where do you think being this unit?
I was really pleased with Sherrod. I thought he had a great spring. He's got the physical abilities. He needs to the mental part of it. He's still got a lot to learn back there. But he's a great cover guy, and he can hit. And I love his physicality. And he's just got to learn. He's just got to learn a few things. So I'm not having to tell him what to do from the sidelines.
Who do you feel the NFL reminds you of?
Say it again.
Who in the NFL is Cooper?
Who remind me of Cooper? I don't know. That's a great question. Cooper can do a lot. Can do a lot of things. He's a super talent for sure. I don't know who I would compare him to.
Coach Goodwin, he's a younger guy, realistically, from coaching perspectives. Can you give me an idea as to how someone, that shows that he has a degree of talent, degree of know-how from just a young age for a coach. So can you give me an idea as to how what is so special about Coach Goodwin?
Well, I think he's been around. Number one, he's been around a lot of really good coaching. Been around a lot of good coaches, and I think he's very humble and willing to listen and learn. I think his ability to listen and learn, his humility, probably separates him from most coordinators.
Coach Goodwin told us y'all are neighbors. Are you guys? Is he knocking down your door at late hours of the night trying to say, "Have you seen this? Have you seen this?"
No, I mean he'll send me some messages from time to time. But last night he had some leftover chicken wings, and I went over and picked them up. So, but he's got 2 little girls, and they just got 2 new dogs, and we love them to death. And, we love having them over, or we like going over to their house. It's good family.
At the end of the day, it's a new era of Clemson defensive football. I mean, there's the expectation's going to be the same, but it's a new person that's leading the charge. I guess the thing that it comes back to is the expectation still not changing, right?
Oh yeah, the expectation is to keep the other team from scoring, and that's and have an aggressive approach, and that's not going to change. That's not going to change at all. We've learned a lot from Coach B. He did an unbelievable job here. Putting this defense on the map and putting it together. He's taught all of us, and so we're going to keep it going. Hopefully, that's the plan.